and you know how that goes.
Ooh, hello.
We are live. We are live. We are live.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oy vey.
Yep.
Welcome to all the people who are watching and all the people that don't watch, what I can say. Yeah, we're here drinking tea. It's the end of
Oh, do you also have to eat? Cheers.
Cheers. Chunk. Hmm.
Anyway, riveting content already.
Already, yes. Keep people awake. Um, so I think we should talk about books, don't you?
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Do you want me to
What we
dive?
do most of the day anyway, you know?
Hey, what do you do
Might
for?
as well do it on the internet.
That's true. Can I help you? Would you like to buy a book? Do we have this book in stock? Yeah. Let me check.
Actually, we do because we're really good at our jobs, you know?
True. We buy stuff in and we sell stuff. I do think that that's one of our great things is
All
that
there is to it.
it's easy. Well, I think most booksellers are just
Stuff
sellers.
comes in, stuff goes out.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle.
Bob, you're my
Oh,
uncle.
hey, that's nice. Yeah, go for it.
Hmm. Bob, my uncle. Bob, my.
Very unintentional segue. Let's go.
There you go. Okay. Bob, he has a book that he recommended. He's not my uncle. He could be my nephew actually. And I upon asking, he was like, "Yep, this one." He's just so fast. He's good. He said that Inspector Imanishi, sorry, by Seisho Matsumoto. Seisho with a umlaut on it. Oh no, not even an umlaut. It's a hat on the O. I don't know how you speak that out.
I don't know. I
No,
don't know anything about Japanese.
no. But if you read this, then you would know a little bit more because he is a classic Japanese writer from days gone by, 1909 to 1992.
Oh, wow.
That's how long he lived. So in the 60s, basically, 60s.
Hmm.
And he published over 450 books, I'm just reading. Good Lord. And won
Four,
the,
did you say 450?
I said 450,
That is not normal.
unless they're lying, but I don't think so.
That is
400,
not a normal number. What the hell?
that's great. So he was prolific. That's more than
Yeah, so if you like his work, there's lots to choose from.
That's true, yeah. Although I should start learning Japanese because they're not all translated
Ah,
to English yet. But
never mind. I take it all back.
no, we'll take some of it back. But you never know. It depends how fast you read. I don't think you could read that fast, to be honest with you. And yeah, so it's a socially oriented detective and mystery fiction. There you go. In addition to historical fiction. Um,
Interesting.
it's kind of part of what's going out these days where there's a lot of Japanese writers that are being translated to English
Yeah.
now. It's kind of the
Yeah.
thing. And of course, they have of course, I mean, it kind of makes it, I didn't know, but you think about it, it's like, oh, why not? They have a large history of authors and books and stuff like that, just like the West does. And
Yeah.
you tend to think of the West being the only one, but of course it's not. So there you go. It's sort of cozy crime, if you like. And what
Nice.
Bob said was a classic detective story. Actually, he's put it in fiction because that's his section, but it's going to be put in such
Ah,
in crime as well.
nice.
Because
Very sneaky.
yeah, it's very sneaky after that. Because we were standing next to Reinhard who does the crime. So it's like,
And I was like, oh, this sounds great. I'm just going to get it for
yeah,
crime as well.
that's it. So, yeah, classic detective thriller. Grizzly Dick together with a junior who get an impossible case to try to solve. So it sounds really like classic stuff. But he says what Bob said he liked was the writer is very specific with writing the details. He says he's
Mm.
writing details that open up the case. So, and you kind
Oh,
of
okay.
you can kind of imagine it with Japanese that we're given this impression that they're very very
Sure.
you know
But is it like, do you know, is it like a whodunit or is it more sort of a descriptive?
I think it's
Am I
more.
asking the wrong questions?
Oh, I see that. Meanwhile, the body count is climbing, so that
No, but
says,
I mean, is it a whodunit in the sense that you can like sort of guess along, like try to solve it yourself?
oh.
Or is it more of just sort of you're on the sidelines as this is unfolding?
I didn't ask him or he didn't explain
Yeah,
it.
I don't know why I think you would know this. I'm sorry.
Well, my book, sneaky book, Spider Sense,
Mhm.
for us, is that it would be quite amazing if you did work it out beforehand.
Okay.
That's my
Okay.
feeling. It's like one of these things where you get involved in it and they're going
Yeah.
shing, shong, shong,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
because he, like you said, he like reveals details. You wouldn't know the details until he reveals it.
Right.
There's no
Yeah.
way in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's along for the ride, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's also, like I said, cozy crime. It's not gruesome, stuff that we've, Scandi thrillers or
Yeah.
shoot 'em ups. So I think it's a good one.
Nice.
Thanks, Bob.
Cool. Thanks, Bob. Thanks.
Thanks.
Should I do one?
Well, unless you want me to do another one, but yeah, I would say go.
No, I'll do one.
Okay.
I have a bunch to choose from.
Hmm.
I asked my colleagues that I worked with today I said that the theme was going to be the ABC birthday month.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they all it all connects very well. Like all the things that they came up with connect very well to sort of the vibe of like bookseller life and stuff. So I want to start with an obvious one, Bookshops and Bone Dust
Oh,
by
yeah.
Travis Baldree, which is a sequel to Legends and Lattes.
Yeah.
Which was a massive, like, viral hit,
Was.
and which is a really fun book, actually. And suggested this, and he said that he likes fantasy in general, but especially he likes to take a peek into the lives of like normal people in a fantasy setting. So just like regular people living in an irregular world. And he said something that really like struck me as very interesting because he's an archaeologist. He's studying archaeology. And he said that that is also something that has always interested him in history and archaeology as well, just the lives of like regular folks. Because usually what we have is like written sources, but those give a very like sort of skewed image of what, just average people's lives were like, because the people who got to write stuff down were in a certain position to do that. So he really appreciates that in real life and also in fiction. And he said it's very refreshing and that he thinks it's one of the things that draws people to this book. Just like you have this fantasy setting with like all these kinds of different types of like humanoids and stuff, but it's really just about someone who's trying to run a bookstore, just trying to make a living. And there's something really refreshing and nice about that.
Yeah. It's sparking off something else that I was talking to Elsa, who's our latest newbie. And although it was too late to add her book to the selection this time, but we'll talk about it next time because it was also about science fiction setting in a bookshop. So it's kind of like apparently like the in thing, but it was the same idea of like it was normal people in it that resonates with this. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute. And I thought it was really interesting how he connected that to like the stuff that he knows, which is history and archaeology.
I think what you're saying, generally speaking, is actually that when you connect it to human beings, ordinary, people like us, then we resonate more naturally with it as well.
That's the thing. That's what I talked about with and with Tom as well. Like most of us are just average people. Yeah. Most of us aren't like epic heroes. We're just living, and that's why I think it appeals to us so much, and it makes it feel so much more real and tangible.
It's funny because you do have that thing of like wanting to read about heroes in the large sense, where they're like and beetling off dragons and almost coming back and saving people, but none of us really. I mean, yeah, mythology, in one way you connect, but in another way it's like the wannabe. And then, but then, yeah, the other thing is the normal man. That's the normal man.
Yeah. Just the average Joe.
Yeah, to be
able living.
That could be me, or yeah, I get that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also the sense of like that there is something like special in that, and something like satisfying in that as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about it. I mean, there's a reason that this book and the prequel became such huge hits.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what relation it has to what's happening in the world at the moment.
Yeah,
these, you know, large monstrous forces that are killing loads of people, and
Yeah.
average person is being the victim of it,
Yeah.
stuck in the middle where we're not making any decisions, and
Yeah.
we're being well, even when we get a chance to vote, the system around it has poisoned so many points of view,
Yeah.
that then we go, you know, the wrong person gets into power because they know how to manipulate the system to make people do the, you know, go in a certain way.
Yeah.
So maybe this gives us also a feeling of safety of how
Yeah.
how every day has been.
Yeah. It's also a bit, especially in the case of this particular book, it is a bit of an underdog story, and people love an underdog
Mm,
when they come out on top at the end. So there's something about that as well that I think makes you feel like, oh, that's like there's something very hopeful in
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
When all is going to be lost and then it still comes through, and
Yeah.
it's true. It's like it's not a given that evil wins all the time. It
Yeah.
does sometimes, but you know we have to keep
Yeah.
hold of it. Interesting. I shall
Mm.
come to that with this, which I can make a nice link.
Ooh, yes.
Which some people will know that it's been on TV as well. It's got not Reese Jones. It's got
But is it out yet?
I don't know if it's actually out. It's just
Yeah,
Paramount.
I don't know either.
Is it not out yet? I don't know. I was
I
talking to
don't know.
Matine, your man from the Hague shop. He was in our shop, and I said to him, "Book," and he went, "This one." He looked up in his little book of like I've read lots of books things, and it's interesting because it could have sort of caught my eye that I wanted to read it.
Read it.
And huh?
I read it.
You read it?
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, you can tell me if I caught
Okay.
what Matane has said or that it's total bullshit. He says,
Hmm.
new book just out from this author, Amor Towlers. I hope I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce their name either.
How about that? That's good.
That's probably it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's right. What else could it be, you know?
Really, when you
Yeah.
think about it, it just makes sense.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
True. That's true. All the rest is. But anyway,
Anyway.
he's written a new book, but this one is the classic previous book that he is known for. So if you've read it already, as Irish already has, then you can be suggested a new book, which I will look up in a minute. And if you have
Great work.
one like I have, not, so I'm going to read it. So it's a Russian diplomat around between 1917 and 1960.
Yeah, it spans basically like
Oh,
most of his life.
yeah, yeah. He was imprisoned in a hotel in Russia, in Moscow, as opposed to being and
I mean, in prison, he's like put under house arrest in a
house.
hotel
Yeah, and he's sort of like the only
because
one.
he's uh of like noble descent or something, and obviously that we can't have that in communist Russia. So they put him in this hotel and they're like, no, you're going to stay here. But really, because it's a hotel, it's a functioning hotel, it's its own little world.
Yeah. So
So
he lives a nice life, but it's so it's the intrigues and the stuff goes on in the hotel. He said it's not heavy, it's kind of light and sometimes funny and magic realistic. He said makes it, and he said it also makes you want to go to reach for Wikipedia to see what actually was happening. You know what they're talking about.
yeah, because it's a very specific point of view that you're getting from this main character who's sort of like a bystander, like an observer of history, because he can't leave the hotel. So he like views like through the windows, he sort of sees what's going on, but also like the guests in the hotel and like how they change over the decades. But he's very much an observer in a world that is sort of passing him by because he's just stuck in this one place.
Yeah, and you have to remember that, of course, TV and video and all the stuff we've got now for connecting, not there.
Yeah.
Radio must have come along halfway through, and television later on, so must have got
Yeah.
that. But to begin with, then all you see are letters,
Yeah.
newspapers for the news, and people coming into the hotel. Indeed, so
Yeah.
kind of a weird. It's obviously a setup. I would say that's a setup from the author, but apparently it works really well.
It does. Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah,
It's
and
quite like sort of meandering, but it's also like world history at the same time. So it's a very interesting balance.
yeah, and of course with the Russian thing, the Russia in war at the moment. Fuck, that's what it is. So
Yeah.
it's like, and they want it to be like it was 100 years ago. So this is about that time. So
It's very much, yeah, if you read it now, I think there's a lot of continuity in it
yeah,
with like current day. Like you can very much sort of put things in context and see, even though it's fiction, obviously, but put things into perspective.
yeah, he must have read a lot, I think, about it.
I mean, I presume he did some research.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
fiction, yeah, but it's based on factual things, and he's obviously wanting to make the author is wanting to make a sort of a statement or an awareness, a bit like archaeologists, talking about history and then
Mm.
things up. This is a
Yeah.
way, a nice way of bringing it across. So there you go. I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
Iris
I think you'd like it.
done it, so I'm gonna. This is my copy. You can't have
Come and get it.
ha, yeah. Fisticuffs at dawn.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's terrible.
I'll pick you
Ay,
right.
ay, 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 ay.
Yeah, you'll go.
Okay, my go. So I have a recommendation from Simona, who is a huge fan of David Nichols, who just came out with a new book called You Are Here, which is about a divorced man and a divorced woman, not from each other, but like separately two divorced people.
Previously divorced people.
Yeah, they're just, the world is full of divorced people, and these are two of them. And they are invited by a mutual friend to go on this big trip, like this huge hike from the east coast to the west coast of the UK. So that's quite a distance. But of course, it's the UK, so the weather's terrible, and everybody sort of, all the participants cancel. So I think it's just them and the mutual friend. And of course, there's like this spark between the two of them. And Simona says that the writing is very fun, and she said the she tried to explain it to me, so I hope I understood it correctly. But what she said is it has a lot of language. And then I was like, of course it does. It's a book. And then she was like, no, it has a lot of words. And I was like, yeah, it better. It's a book. But I
Yeah.
think what she meant was that it's very like the language is very sort of full. It's very like every word and every sentence serves a very specific purpose. There's not a lot of like throwaway lines, which
Yeah.
I think she was trying to say.
Right.
Um, and she also said, again, funnily enough, that it's very refreshing that the main characters are just sort of normal, middle of the road people,
Hmm.
which I don't know, it just kept coming up today because Simona was not there when I was talking to about the other book. So this just sort of happened organically.
Yeah.
But apparently that is something that is just appealing to us right now
There you go. People.
for the reasons previously discussed.
Yes. Now we know why. I think
Yeah.
it should be sociologists. I think, which actually, if you finished,
Yes.
I,
This
I
is going so well. All the segues. Oh my God.
absolutely, it's damn killer.
Woo.
That book written by a sociologist who's a very famous one because he's written very well and everybody likes him. And yes, it's great. He's Dutch. You wouldn't have guessed it, would you?
Yeah.
Haas.
Eindhoven.
I don't know if you say that. You say, hello, Haas. It sounds like a good book for doing that. But this is Jeroen's. Jeroen always gives really good
Mm-hmm.
questions, and he's always surprised when I ask him. But then he comes up with some crackers. He walks around as if it's like in a daze, and then just picks up a book. Goes, oh, this one. I think this is good, it
And
really,
it's a banger.
and it's a banger. It really is. So, yeah, how migration really works kind of says it all. The subtitle, a factual guide to the most divisive issue in politics. I don't know if I can explain it any more than that. Really, it's just like if you don't get it by now, then
Yeah, that about covers it, I think.
yeah, it's a nice bit thicker book, and from a person who knows. And I think the overview of what has been and what's going on, and what Jeroen said, the myths of what migration is meaning and the impacts that it has on countries, I guess Western countries, seeing as we're sitting in the West and we're the ones who receive the migrants rather than coming from countries that are having the people leave them, that they don't seem to have much to say, or at least newsworthy, because you don't see that on the news. So if that's your bag you're rolling into, I would suggest reading this, because again, it makes me kind of want to read it, because indeed when I'm watching the news and I'm thinking, this can't be all this, it's so one-sided. It's all, they're coming over here and it's all no good, and you hear some, at least my impression is, I hear a few reasonings that are the opposite, for good reasons why migrants are coming, and also migrants do it for a reason. They're being put under horrible circumstances, mostly from the country that they're living in.
Yeah, I feel like if you're still at a point where you need to have that explained to you, then what are you doing with your life? Like, which rock are you living under?
Exactly. Unfortunately,
right?
People are the ones that sometimes are making the rules, like England just did, where they said that people could be sent back to Rwanda.
Yeah, that's wild. That is pretty wild.
That is unfortunately the where the world is at the moment, where we've got people who you'd think, if you don't understand it, step away, and they're actually stepping up to the mic instead of stepping away from it. Yeah.
No, but it sounds really interesting. I was adding this title to our highlight on the website, and I had a look at the blurb, and it was the first like 3 lines were like, oh, actually, stricter border regulations are causing more migration, not less, and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, these first like 3 statements already, like, I'm hooked. What the fuck? I want to read this.
Yeah, there you go. So I know a place you can get one. I might have to take this one. This might be a 2 out of 2 at the moment, 2 out of 3, actually 3 out of 3. I wouldn't mind reading all 3 of them. Got a lot of reading to do this weekend. You're
going to be real busy.
Yeah, I am. These are, of course, all to do with ABC birthday, which we just had.
52
years old. I don't know what that was. And I'm going to say we started in 1972 on the 15th of April, as far as I'm aware. And I have to butt in that, or addendum, that I started working at the ABC in 1993 on the 15th of April.
Oh, wow.
So I'm actually
very cool
years as well. So it's a sort of double birthday. We should have celebrated together. Next time. But so we've been going a long way. And we had music. We celebrated it over last weekend, so the weekend after the 15th. And we had music with Poems Ago, a nice duo who played in Amsterdam and played in The Hague, and looked nice to me. I wasn't working on the day myself, but they all went plunkety plunk and sang about poems. They sang the poems of Irish poets, and present. So that was kind of nice. So there was again a connection of the shop, and we had a discount for people buying favorites. And just general hurrah!
And the little magazine.
Oh yeah,
that we still have a ton of. So if you're coming to the store and you want one, grab them.
Yeah, they're free.
It's really fun, actually. I was like midway through the day, I was like, oh, maybe I should have a look at what's in there, and it was really nice.
That's it. It's like, well, we sell it. Oh, yeah.
But it's also I really like, because obviously I was telling people at the register, like, oh, you can take one of these because it's her birthday, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, whoa, 52, that's pretty impressive. And I was like, yeah, actually, that is pretty impressive. How many stores, like independent family-owned stores, can say that they've been around for 52 years? That is pretty wild.
And particularly bookshops too.
Yeah.
Think of the bookshops and the change that we've gone through, the massive change in the last 20 years with Amazon to begin with, which started out as a bookshop. And then the internet itself with electronic books, ebooks, and so we're still standing, man. Yeah,
here we are.
So
on to the next 52.
Are you going to be there in 52 years' time?
I doubt it.
I'll be going, oh, can I help you? Let me think of the book, and it will magically turn up in the whatever. Anyway, let's go on to what else we got. Oh, I got one more.
Okay,
one more.
I've got many more, so maybe I should go first.
Go on then.
Okay. So, Emma Vey, one of the Emmas, recommends The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill, which is like a graphic novel situation. And she says, in the mythical Tea Dragon Society, each member has a little dragon that grows plants on its head, of which tea can be made. Isn't that just the cutest thing? And then after finding a lost dragon, a young ogre girl is taught by members of the society, the Tea Dragon Society, how to take care of dragons, which is something that takes time and energy and care. Um, and Emma says it's a book about slow living, about getting to know different types of people and making sacrifices to help each other. And she said that in many ways it sort of reminds her of life as a bookseller, where you're also connecting with, different types of people in the store, and you're helping to create small moments of joy for people by finding the right book for them. And I thought that was just very adorable.
And I really like that last line.
Yeah,
I think
right.
we
And
should.
it's also, I don't know if you have it on the screen share thing, but it's just such a pretty book. The colors are so lovely, and it's very sort of
I can do.
autumnal. It's very nice. It's very cute.
Do this. Just wait. Oh, copy paste. There she. Ooh, ah. It looks really nice.
Right? It's very
Would,
cute.
would you like to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just unmute myself as well. My share screen disappeared. Okay. And then I will share that. Look at that.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Nice. It's pity I can't make a bigger version of it, but yeah. Tea Dragon Society. And they got
It's been on my to read list for so long, and I've just never gotten around to it. But now that Emma mentioned it, I'm like, no, I need to get to it because it's also like it's a graphic novel. It's something you can read in like an hour.
right. That's the problem with graphic novels, is that they're so fast that I mean, you can get them through them real quick, and it's like, oh, but it's over before you've.
Yeah. But
So
then if I never pick it up,
no, if you never
how
pick it
does
up,
that help me?
you will not read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like graphic novels, but that's nice, and I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to snitch that last line. Did she made that up herself? Did she? So, helping to create small moments of joy for people.
Ja, geluksmomentjes. That's what she called it.
Right, but that could be an ABC slogan: helping to
Oh God.
people. Ah. We can have little horns on ourselves, and we can become tea dragon ogres.
I
And
mean,
I'm willing to have something grown on my head as a potted.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to have
I
a
will noted.
I will watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Well, that actually resonates with the last one I have. The next one and last from Maria S.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't have in here, but I'll see if I can find it. Ascendant: Songs of Chaos, Part One, from Michael Miller. And excuse me.
Oh no.
No,
Oh
still
shit.
here.
Now I have to do the stream.
Yes, yeah. You're never going to
We're
be on.
just live forever now.
He died whilst online. Oh wow.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
Wow. Anyway, Ascendant: Songs of Chaos, also relevant to me with my songwriting thingy here. It came out in 2020, so it's 4 years old now. But I don't consider that very old, because I'm an old
No.
fart, so that's just really new.
Yeah.
And it's a fantasy book, surprise, surprise, about dragons. Surprise, surprise.
What?
Yeah, that she's enjoying, that Maria's enjoying at the moment, about a connection between a young sort of working class boy, a baker's boy, I think she said, and a blind dragon. A blind dragon, you say? How is that possible? Well, of course, it was as the dragon mothers feel when their baby eggs are gonna like hatch into problematic little buggers, so that they kill them already.
Oh, they do a bit of eugenics on the side. The
Yeah,
dragon mothers are into eugenics. This is great.
yeah. But the little boy saved this little dragon before
Good.
it got prematurely hatched or whatever it did. So it doesn't live with it. It's got no mother, and it's living with the boy, and the boy's living with it, and they're kind of like, it's a nice friends myth story kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she says what she likes about it is an easy read. And I thought, well, it's kind of like we say cozy crime. We've got cozy fiction, so cozy
It's
science.
like the theme of the month this month for some reason. Yeah.
Normal people. That thing of the normal person mythology. What did you say it was? It was just normal person overcoming,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Regular people in an irregular world.
Yeah. And she's enjoying the relaxed pace, and that it's not like in the first 10 pages that everything happens and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
building up. So she's still reading it at the moment, but she really liked it at the moment. So it sounded like nice. And again, it's like
Yeah.
for the brain and for the body. And I think that's what we need at the moment.
That sounds really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That was Michael Miller and Ascendant. And that's part.
Nice. Cool.
What have you got?
I have a recommendation from Naomi, who is always very good about contributing to staff picks.
Right on.
And it's called Old Flames and New Fortunes by Sarah Hogel. And Naomi says our lead character runs a shop with her sisters. They sell witchy supplies, books in the basement, and she herself is a flora fortunist. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know.
Like
She
it.
makes magical floral arrangements that suit her customers' needs and
Cool.
helps make their romantic desires come true.
Ooh.
And Naomi also says the shop's creativity and the sisters' freedom in how they run it reminds me a lot of working at ABC. It's cozy and they do their very best to help customers achieve their dreams.
That's kind of
It's
cool.
a very similar, that's what I meant. Like, these people didn't all talk to each other while we were doing this, but somehow they all ended up with the same sentiment.
They managed to get the idea, but yeah,
Yeah.
picture of it. You can see it's got that like the other one we talked about just now. So kind of and is this under this must be romance, I assume.
I think it's maybe romantasy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounds more like that to me.
Yeah.
But nice.
Right? Isn't
Which
it cute?
yeah, this mixture we talked about previously on previous editions, where it's like romance and actually a bit of science fiction, fantasy kind of thing, because they're witchy kind of people and mixed in.
Yeah.
Like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And then I also have one from me, because I was thinking about like, what is a book that I sort of connect, or how do I like connect what I read to my job, and like, how does it all like come together? And so I have this Bookstagram account, and one of the people I follow is Rosie Talbot, who is a bookseller in the UK. She works for Waterstones.
Hmm.
And she wrote a book. And because I follow her on Instagram, I sort of like followed along with the process. And like we're both booksellers. So you talk to each other and like you recognize each other's stories. And she wrote this book, 16 Souls. And it was going to be like a self-published thing, but then it was actually picked up by Scholastic, by a traditional publisher,
Hmm.
which was just a very cool thing to happen to her. So like everybody was like, "Oh, Rosie, that's so great." There's also a sequel, by the way, if you're into it, there is more. And I like the book. It's like a sort of a modern ghost story. It's like a YA book. It's set in York. It's very spooky. But especially I connected it to ABC and like to the whole concept of like stubbornly independent, blah, blah, blah. Because as booksellers, we are sort of in a position to bring certain titles to the people.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like, oh, so I follow this person on Instagram and I saw that they wrote a book, and then I talked to Sophie, who is the buyer for the YA section in The Hague, and then she stocked it for the store, and now it's just on the shelves and it's selling, and it's just such a cool thing. I feel like I don't know, I haven't worked in other bookstores, so I don't know if this is a normal thing, but I feel like it's pretty sort of unique to ABC that it feels so immediate. You know, the lines are so short, and that's just really nice.
Yeah. It's
And
actually
also, it's a good book. You should read it.
it's a good book, but read it. Yeah, I was talking to somebody today. I think the specific thing that the ABC has is that we are buyers and sellers on
Yes. Yeah.
our sections, and we know each other's sections. So we're like this big amorphous blah that we kind of like exactly what you just described. You know, you're watching other people, you're watching writer who works in a bookshop because it's kind of what you do and you like it and you like her style. And then when you see she's got a book coming out that you go, oh, that might be interesting, you're in a position to do something about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I really like that I feel like we're pretty good at like championing books that we like and not just like the big sellers because they'll sell anyway. But something that we do, I think that's very cool is that we have the little staff pick like insert cards and we put in a lot of effort also with our top fives at the end of the year, a lot of effort to make the books that we like sort of bring them to the people. And I really like that.
Me too.
Because there's a lot of weirdos who work at ABC, so it's always good fun to see what they recommend.
Trust our opinions, but there you go. No, it's we have the blog as well. It's where we got that. Yeah, there's different outlets that we have that we try and share that with our customers, and our Instagram feeds and the Twitter and all of those things that we do. It's cool. Yes, I had a pensive moment there of thinking about it.
You sure did.
Did I look like I was glowing? Because that's what I was like.
No, you looked like you were thinking.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's close enough.
Did the beard help? Or did
yes, definitely. The beard helps with everything in life, Luke. No, that's.
I was thinking. I was like, I can look really like I can look any way I look, but the beard just sits there and just takes over, and people go, he must know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in your head, there's like a little hamster and like a wheel going around and around.
Oh yeah. Because it pops its head out of my ear and then back in. But right. Did we actually finish all our books?
I think we did.
We rattled them off. What I was thinking was
it just worked so well because they all like connected to each other really well. So it just really it flowed really nicely, I think.
And you were more on the ball with this month's ABC theme, but I mean the ones I chose kind of like worked it. Yes, full points to you. Good one.
Thanks.
Mine seemed to work just worked in. Great. Yeah. It's another thing about the ABC. We're just very because we work all the time together. We're very symbiotic. Is that the right word to use? It just all seems to fit together.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. What? Just to round off, what's the last thing we've got to do for this month? What's coming for the next month that we can tell the folks about at home? Anything interesting? We got the open
we have 2 trade-in days coming up in The Hague, and I think there's still some spots available. So like you book a specific time slot because we don't want people. Some people bring like a suitcase of books, and we don't love it when there's like 10 people with suitcases showing up at the same time. So it's much more convenient for us if you book a time slot. So you can do that on, I think, just by emailing or calling us, but all the info should be on the website.
Let's look at the events page where it says it, and then we can get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Yes, let's not lie to the people.
That's great.
I don't want to lie to the people, Luke.
Oh, don't lie to the people, Iris.
I would never lie to them.
You need a book. You need to book a time slot for this event. Please contact the store for this. There you go. And there's the contact address, dh@abc.nl or telephone number.
Yeah.
Can't be clearer. So there you go.
Great.
I was there. I'm not going to bore you all with that right now. You can read that.
No, you can read it yourself.
abc.nl. Go and do some work. Go and do some work, you at home. Anyway. That's my microphone up there. It's not coming out of my head. It's just on the back. Don't worry about that.
I wasn't worried for a second.
No, I'm sure.
No, you got this.
What is that doing there? Just hanging around, and it's just like why isn't he using it for this in particular thing? It's because
because you're using a different microphone. Oh my god.
Yeah,
and like microphone central up in there.
I just would go. Oh, I think I'll use that one today.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, I'd say let's finish.
Let's.
Okay. We didn't get around to making pancakes, but then that wasn't on the agenda. But we did have a nice cup of tea. Prost. Yes. And we'll see you guys next month at the same time, at the same place.
Yes.
anywhere in the world because it's on YouTube. And yeah, the last Friday of the month, which I don't have a calendar in front of me. I have a day calendar, but that's not really helpful.
I think it's hang on, I think it's very late. Yeah, it's the 31st of May. It's the last day of May.
It's the last day of May, the 31st.
Yeah.
So make a plan. Be there.
Plan?
Watch us, or you can watch us afterwards, of course, which you
Yes.
So
it will be available.
It will be. Okay, I'm going to press the button to stop it if I can find it. YouTube, there's the button.
Goodbye, people of the internet.